Hello, how are you? It's a Monday the 17th of May. Monday news. Welcome to my channel. It's me, Heidi, on my channel, Heidi's Corner. As per usual, in the studio with me are, of course, Stefan and Bertil. Hello. Say hello to these people. Excuse me for the... Okay, so what is up today? First of all, I would like to thank every one of you who have subscribed within during the weekend. During the live stream at NASA Bunker 33, where I was in the early hours of the morning on Sunday. I forgot to link it in this video's description box. However, you can go and check it out on this past week's Friday Facts episode. It will be there as a link in the description box, and after the stream I will share the link in the description box of this live stream. And at the end of this live stream I promise to give you news of this channel, of the future of this channel. It'll be nice, very good news. So let's get these guys. There's his place. As the title suggests, New York City Pride organizers have banned the police and other law enforcement personnel from their the Pride Parade in New York City until 2025. So for the next 4 years, and that is at least until then. So let's bring that up on the screen there. Excuse me for a moment. Yes, so the event here we have an NYPD, that's New York Police Department officer there in Pride March in 2014. There is a police officer. This is from The Guardian, the newspaper The Guardian. So they go on to say that organizers of New York City's Pride event say they will ban police and other law enforcement personnel from marching in their annual parade until at least 2025, and will also seek to keep on-duty officers a block away from the celebration of LGBTQ plus people and history. In many ways, I understand this, where they're coming from. There has certain history with LGBT plus people and the NYPD, namely the decades prior and since the Stonewall riots in 1969, and then from which were sparked by the NYPD raids. I've talked about the Stonewall riots in a dedicated live stream at least, if I recall, at least twice on this channel. At least on season 1 with lovely Susan, and then with as a, I think it was a Friday Facts episode that you can go check out. It's really fascinating stuff. So in and it goes on to say that the NYPD, in a statement released on Saturday, NYC Pride urged members of law enforcement to quote unquote acknowledge their harm and to correct course moving forward. And quoting further, the sense of safety that law enforcement is meant to provide can instead be threatening and at times dangerous to those in our community who are most often targeted with excessive force and or without reason, the group says. Yes, this is something that have been, at least to some degree, acknowledged elsewhere probably as well, but namely in when it comes to the quote unquote Western countries or the Western world, have hence been in the past have been the LGBT plus community has been subjected to police brutality, police violence, unprovoked police violence and brutality. So and New York City, as I said, in the events of Stonewall in Greenwich Village, in New York City, 69 Greenwich Village, Stonewall Inn. It was sparked by a police raid and police brutality that had been, especially in particular, one raid on the early hours of the morning of June 28th, 1969, which sparked a lot of the LGBTQ plus and the Pride, how shall I put this, movements or the human rights activism that have come out of the community were sparked by the events of that night. And those were actually sex workers, trans sex workers of color that suffered at the time probably the most, and they were the ones who sparked, if you will, started the riots in many ways. So why is this important? It's important in many ways in the modern world. If I may, I will go on to the article. It will, and after a reference to the excessive force and over that reason, the NYC Pride organizers referred to this. Now, if the article goes on to say, and by the way, this is fresh news. This article was published just 36 hours or so ago, on Sunday, May 16th of this year at 03:32 British Standard Time. So at the time I was in the live stream. Actually, this was released. This article. So this article, the Guardian article, goes on to say that it will also increase the event's security budget to boost the presence of community-based security and first responders while reducing the police department's presence. That is a good idea, in my opinion. I used to be a chair of an association organizing these pride events in a bigger town where I lived previously, before moving to Helsinki. So why not? It's not impossible to have such community-based security arrangements, for a very affordable price. So, moving on to the article, police will, yes, after stating that they will probably that they will rely on community-based security, and going on to say that police will provide first response and security, quote unquote, only when absolutely necessary, as mandated by city officials. The group said, group being the organizers behind the New York City Pride Parade and the Pride event. So the word of the ban came out Friday when the gay, quote unquote, what's called, when the Gay Officers Action League said, when word came out on Friday, when the Gay Officers Action League, police officers, I would assume, said in a release it was disheartened by the decision. Yeah, I would assume so. They were in in some ways I get it, you know. I understand where they're coming from in this case, with regards to police officers being gay, trans, bi, lesbian, and just like any other people. But I still understand why they some in the LGBTQ plus community dislike the police officers, or will get agitated by the police or the law enforcement, for a good reason. I think for a good reason. But anyway, going back, the group called the Gay Officers Action League called the ban and a quote unquote abrupt about face. If there are any native English speakers watching live or as a replay, would you please? I'm not a native speaker, so abrupt about face, I take it to mean something along the lines of a slap on the face. I think could be, but I could be mistaken. I'm fluent in English, but sometimes these euphemisms tend to get just I don't get them. Anyway, and said the decision is that the decision to placate some of the activists in our community is shameful. I kind of see where that argument is coming from. I mean, it's like not every. I kind of get, because there are, as I said, there are LGBTQ plus people in the armed police force, and other law enforcement stuff. I kind of get why they're upset, but they should also. I mean, it's not anyone's job to that in some ways that is discrimination based on one's profession. It's they in some ways this is this like reverse reverse discrimination against, because these apparently, I as I understand it, these police officers cannot come to, are banned completely, like as in not allowed to come in or to the parade as a off duty as a civilian. So it's kind of weird to me that they would ban, if it is actually so that the police officers cannot come as as private persons off duty to the Pride March or parade. That's discrimination. I think that is discrimination based on this, on said person's profession. They, if a police, I understand if they come in with their uniforms on, like we had in this picture. We had on top, we had this police officer with full uniform on. In that case, I understand why. Especially given the history, I understand. However, if it really is so that that these police officers and other law enforcement staff cannot come there even off duty in civilian clothes, that is not fine for me. That is, in my opinion, that is not fine. That is never fine. Okay. It's, of course, you can argue both ways, of course, but that's just my 2 cents. That's my 2 cents on the matter, and you can get me you can slap me silly if you disagree completely. Yeah. If you'd excuse me for a moment. There. So, the article. Going forward, the group, the gay police officer associate, a group called it abrupt face and shameful. The article goes on to say as follows: the parade is scheduled for June after the Lagerlögi prevented many Pride events last year, including in New York, which instead hosted virtual performances in front of masked participants and honored frontline workers in the pandemic crisis. Many, if not most, Pride events were indeed cancelled last year, which was really unfortunate. So going forth, the disruptions frustrated activists who had hoped to collectively mark the 50th anniversary of the first gay pride parades and marches in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, and San Francisco in 1970. Yes, those first ones were a year later. And it's, for those who do not know, the there's a reason why many, many, if not most, Pride events and marches are in the end of July, the last weekend of July. There's a reason. Guess why? The Stonewall riots happened in the last weekend of June 1969. So that's why. The Helsinki Pride event in previous years has been organized. So thus far, it has every year for how long it's been going on, I'm not sure, but at least 10. The first one was sometime in the 80s, I think. And then it went on a bit irregularly until something like 10 to 15 years ago. So until it went annual. So those marches, it goes on to say that those marches came a year after the 1969 uprising outside Manhattan's Stonewall Inn, a gay bar, in response to a police raid. This uprising is largely credited with fueling the modern LGBTQ plus rights movement. As I said, this is what I was referring to previously. With regards to the significance of the Stonewall events, as to how they what their legacy is and remains to be to this day. So anyway, I will link the two because this wraps up a lot around the Stonewall events. What happens in Stonewall in New York, because this is, however, anyway, this is the New York event after all. So excuse me, I have issues with my stream right now. Yes, excuse me. To fix something. Anyway, moving on. The riots at Stonewall. I will link the two streams. One with Susan and one from season 1. I think it was the second stream on my channel with lovely Susan, second or third, if I remember correctly. And then the Friday Facts episode. So there in New York City, there is a decades-long, and not just in New York, there's a decades-long history with, especially in the U.S., there is a decades-long, not just in the U.S., elsewhere as well, a decades-long history of abuse by the law enforcement towards unprovoked, that is, towards LGBTQ plus people just because who they are. So what I still would like to go through the entire article. So the Pride season this year. Let's go with the article, shall we? So the Pride season occurs this year amid activism inspired by response to racial injustice and police brutality. Yes, it's in racial issues as well. The especially the U.S. police force have a horrible track record on this one, on that one as well. In the wake of George Floyd's death last year at the hands of police in Minneapolis, the Pride NYC's announcement on Saturday, that would be Saturday the 15th, follows a division among organizers in recent years in planning for celebrations of LGBTQ plus Pride in New York City. So this is this isn't something new that these events are torn into several different groups, if you will, due to differences in views or how these events should be run, which is really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate that it has to go that way. Anyway, as I said, yeah, I've been in the situation where I've been organizing a Pride event in a city where it's torn. The people are torn into two camps, basically, which is really unfortunate, given the importance of events such as LGBTQ plus Pride events. It's sad. So let's go on with the article. In 2019, there were 2 marches in Manhattan after some in the community concluded that the annual parade had become too commercialized. I've heard that argument before with regards to these Pride events, but hey, you gotta get the money somewhere. But anyway, the Queer Liberation March aimed for a protest vibe, saying the main Pride March was too heavily policed by the same department that raided Stonewall half a century ago. Exactly. This is what I was really talking about. Exactly, because the NYPD has a horrible track record in this regard. They were, however, in some ways, is good, because the NYPD raid, or the actions of NYPD sparked the riots, which then sparked it's a snowball effect in this regard as well. It's their actions, be it bad behavior, sparked the riots that had been transformed into Pride events. So it's not something bad sparked something good. That's my point. I'm not saying what the NYPD did is back then, or before or since with regards to violence towards, especially unprovoked, towards LGBTQ plus people is right, but that sparked something good. Anyway, the article. Let's go through it together until the end. Then the next paragraph. The New York Police Department commissioner apologized for the raid during a briefing, referring to Stonewall in riots raid in '69, and called it wrong, plain and simple. But that doesn't take away the harm done by the NYPD and the why the LGBTQ plus people are still upset, and rightfully upset and grumpy of what happened in Stonewall Inn, that is. Anyway, the going forward, Detective Sophia Mason, the spokesperson for NYPD, said on Saturday the department's quote unquote annual work to ensure a safe, enjoyable Pride season has been increasingly embraced by its participants. Yeah, that's part of that's one view. That is just one part of the story. It feels as if this detective Sophia Mason is trying to whitewash, or whitewashing is not a correct word for it, is pinkwashing the NYPD's actions, and in some and many ways sort of downplaying the harm the NYPD has done over the years, over the decades, and hence trying to get it, make it somehow acceptable by saying, yes, some of them say it's okay. Just because some have embraced them doesn't mean doesn't mean that the majority will feel safe when there are police officers and other law enforcement personnel in the marching next to them in full uniform. I'm not sure if they're allowed to carry guns. I'm no pancake expert on that one, but anyway, going forward, she added, Detective Sophia Mason went on to add that the idea of officers being excluded is disheartening and runs counter to our shared values of inclusion and tolerance. That said, we'll still be there to ensure traffic safety and order during this huge and complex event. I would, however, note that the article, or this, yes, here, after going on to say, the police will provide first response and security, quote unquote, only when absolutely necessary, as mandated by city officials. The group said, adding it hoped to keep police officers at least one block and at least one city block away from event perimeter areas where possible. It's something I kind of understand, but it's here, at least here in Finland, it wouldn't be possible. I think it wouldn't even be legally possible. I could be mistaken, but it might not be even legally possible to keep a block away, because our cities are so cramped, and our cities are not that big. Our capital, Helsinki, has 650 something thousand inhabitants and that is not much. That is really not much. It's not much. It's very little. Compared to, for example, New York City, which is, I believe, the biggest, the largest metropolitan area in America. So it's not something to be taken lightly. Yeah, I think this is interesting. This is an interesting concept that would actually, if they can actually pull this off, if they could pull this off, and this would actually happen in real life, which I personally do hope so. In just if not otherwise, but just for the sake of for everyone to feel safe, you know. And there is actually there's an article there that the Pride in London rejects the ban on Met Police taking part in Met would be, I think, London Metropolitan Police. So it seems that let's go and have a look. It seems as if the NYC Pride organisers have a somewhat different. Yes, this is more than 2 months old, as it says there, but I would guess. My guess is that the situation with that is still the same. I highly doubt that it's gone anywhere. That they would have banned it for some hitherto unknown reasons, which would be something I'd be surprised of. But actually, even though this is about the New York City situation, let's go and have a look on what the exact same thing or situation is in London, or at least this is from 2 months ago, but over 2 months ago. But I doubt this hasn't changed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly sure this hasn't changed. So, Pride in London. London has voted against a motion to ban the Metropolitan Police from taking part in the procession of the annual parade, following pleas from the commissioner to allow her officers to be able to march. The force, like the police force, like any other, and this is still from The Guardian. The police force, like every other organization is free to apply to take part in the next parade, which has been scheduled for September, so which is a bit later, obviously, than a typical Pride event. Anyway, the board members had been actively considering preventing the Metropolitan Police's participation in Pride in London, following calls to do so at the height of last year's Black Lives Matter protests. Yes, the police force would in the UK as well use some, as I understand it, they used some excessive force in the UK as well, which I'm not really surprised of. But correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, the Pride in London received hundreds of letters in response to a Twitter campaign highlighting examples of perceived institutional racism within the Met and demanding the exclusion of its LGBT plus network group from the parade. The organization was called on to do more to speak out against discrimination faced by ethnic minorities. Fair enough. Similar demands have been made of other Pride events across the world, with Toronto Pride banning uniformed officers from taking part in the parade in 2019, but Sydney Mardi Gras members voted last December to allow officers to participate. Okay, it seems that we are talking about, at least in some parts of the world, we are talking about uniformed officers, but it could very well be the opposite, or the ban of all police officers, whether in uniform or civilian clothing. So, the Guardian goes on to say that last year's parade was cancelled as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Pride in London board decided to undergo months of engagement and outreach with its volunteers to address the issue. Yeah, it's a sensitive issue. I'm sure. So, going on with the article here, its community advisory board sought feedback from different groups over a number of weeks and recommended in a report that the police not be allowed to march as a group in the parade. The report noted that while every LGBT person has had a right to take part in the parade, not every organization shared that right. As I take it, the majority, what had to do with the New York City ban, had to do with the organization, not individual cops. And so the community advisory board has previously criticized Pride in London for not being inclusive enough, with Stonewall pulling out the parade in 2018 because the event's perceived lack of diversity. Yes. But hey, it is how it is. So I think a lot of this has to do with the environmental issues of each individual country. in the UK, the and here in Finland, the situation being quite a bit easier. So who knows? But hey, this was my news today for you. Anyway, you will find after as I go and perceive, and I will the links to the Stonewall videos or the live streams will be in the description box of the YouTube video or the YouTube live stream description box. I will go and put them there right now before I forget. Excuse me. I will be right back. Yes, hello. Sorry about that. Now the links to the live stream with Susan. The first, actually, when I fetched the link for you for the YouTube live stream, it was the second live stream when I remembered correctly. It was the second live stream of my channel, and then it was a while ago. But those links are in the description box in Facebook. Excuse me, the live stream from on YouTube. The links will be. You can then proceed to click the links and watch the streams. Please do. So, other links can be found in the description box below. There will be as I mentioned, the links to these Stonewall live streams, and then there is the links to playlists. You will find the season 1 where there is the video, the second video from the second oldest video is the Stonewall on season 1, and there will be other wonderful live streams with, for example, Conspiracy Cats and Bob the Science Guy. I highly recommend. Then there is the playlist for the season 2, which is this Monday news show. You will also find a link to a playlist of special files. Special files, which is are special videos with special people. For example, Arthur Weber will be have will be you will find videos with him there. Also, you will find live streams with Borg Skeptic, previously known as Borg Skeptic, previously known as Trans Atheist. With her, I had a nice I had a seat with her and nice chat about the life as an asexual. You will also find, if you go a bit further, you will go to my channel, you will find the playlist for Sunday specials, but there is only one episode so far of Sunday special, so I linked the individual video. Is Sunday special Japanese snacks. My partner and I are opening a snack box and Japanese snack box and trying out the different snacks. They were absolutely fantastic. So then you will also find the links to my Discord servers. There will be LGBT plus safe space server. I highly recommend the server. It's for all LGBT plus people and our allies. As means it's meant for all LGBT plus and people and our allies to be as a safe space for everyone. My admins and moderators are wonderful people, and keeping it safe. And there you'll find interesting discussions about photography technology, of what goes into it, what the cameras are made of, how the cameras work, and all the geeky stuff about the cameras in photography, as well as very beautiful pictures, absolutely lovely pictures. I love them. And then you'll find the link for my YouTube, this YouTube channel, as well this YouTube and Twitch channel server. I highly recommend that too. It's still small, but I still recommend. And finally, I will come to the playlist of Friday Facts, the last for, it's not last but not the least playlist of the playlists. But I will address this playlist the last. Oh, and there will be, you'll find my channel email address as well. If you want to send me an email and maybe collaboration requests, commentary, questions, etc., you might not want. If you don't want to, if you're shy and stuff, you can and don't want to comment your questions in the chats, in the live chats or the comment section, send me an email. If you want collaboration, etc., send me an email. It's my inbox is always open. But the Friday Facts playlist. Why am I addressing it the last? You may ask. Because the Friday Facts episode of this past Friday was the last and final episode of Friday Facts. So the Friday Facts series will be discontinued. There will no longer be Friday Facts. These regular Friday Facts episodes will be replaced as of this week Friday. Those will be replaced by a new series called History with Heidi. In this History with Heidi episodes or this new series, History with Haiti, I will be going through interesting bits of LGBTQ plus history, well known and very little known historical facts from the past of LGBTQ plus people. That is something that will start this week, this Friday. I will not reveal the topic. You will see. Excuse me. You'll see the topic when I post the live stream, or when I create the live stream before the. I usually do it the previous day, except for days like today when I did it just some hours before the stream, which is somewhat unusual. You might, especially for those who might have followed me quite a long time. Anyway, I will be going now. I have now gone through what I have to say tonight about the New York Pride news. I have gone through the article. I've told you, and I've given you my 2 cents, and I gave you a bit of extra with the similar topic with London Pride event, where they were also thinking of banning the police for the Metropolitan Police, but eventually didn't. Now, what do I have to say anymore for today? Please like, thumbs up, thumbs down, I don't care which one. Thumbs up, thumbs down, it will help my channel either way. And please subscribe. This is the end. And I will see you for History with Haiti on Friday, with entirely new stuff. Thank you for watching. See you soon.